Van Johnson told me this a long time ago. He said, when you increase literacy, you decrease poverty. I always tell parents all the time, tutoring is not abracadabra. You got to put the work in, just like with anything else in life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Let's Add Value podcast, where we bring complete value to all of our listeners. What if we told you that your child learning struggle could be solved with just the right equation, and it's just not as complicated as you think, right? So today we have the dynamic duo behind As Pie Tutoring. We have Mr. Corey Frazier and Ms. Chante Frazier, who are making personalized education accessible and effective for students across the country. We want to welcome you to our podcast. Thank you all for being here, Ms. Chante and Mr. Corey. How y'all doing today?
Awesome,
Great.
awesome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having
All right,
us.
let me also bring out the man too. So the man that's behind the plan, right? Mr. Marcus Lennon. He's over there with all the the Academy Award winning trophies you have behind him.
Hey, welcome everybody. Hey, thank you for taking time out of your day. I see y'all color coordinated, so I could already tell this is going to be one of those shows that we're definitely going to need. Y'all ready? Y'all suited up? So, hey, we're just going to jump right into it. But before we get started, I got a question for you. If we were having a cookout, what are you bringing to the cookout?
Napkins, ice, and some fold-down chairs.
I'm bringing macaroni and cheese.
I love that. We going to sleep
That's
after.
what I wanted to hear. Hey, you got to go ahead. I love it. See, you saw how the setup was, right? She's gonna bring the mac and cheese because he
Right.
already knows that you're gonna go to sleep, so he got the
Right.
chair. I love it. I love it. See,
Okay,
that's
this
how
family.
teamwork. I get it already.
Right. We already know who cooking this family. Because you will get.
Yeah.
But Mr.
Yeah.
Boys has always been taught, you eat what you bring.
That's right. You better. You don't. Yeah. I was at one yesterday. This lady brought some coleslaw. It was like, man, it's 100 degrees out here. Nobody eating that coleslaw. But that's another story for she hear this podcast. So,
He said, "Before you get into
right.
it." So, hey, I'm glad. Hey, always want to start off with a little something as we transition because you guys are going to bring something real serious to us today. And we just really thank you guys once again for being here. So, I have to start off with a question. Why tutoring? Why tutoring?
Well, that's a good question. So we both have individual backgrounds as far as like peer tutoring. So for me, I would get a lot of requests from my peers not a lot, but I've gotten a few requests when I was in grade school to tutor in math mostly, and also did some tutoring with a company. I can't remember the name right now. Sylvan Learning Center. Thank you. I worked with them, and even as I've gone on to my career, I've gotten requests. I work as a medical physicist. Okay, I have a STEM career in the medical field, and I've gotten requests from coworkers here and there to help out their kids in math or science, or people I would meet in the gym, different places. Oh, I'm a technologist. I need help studying for my ultrasound exam. So here and there, throughout all the years since grade school, I would get requests for tutoring. And then Corey, you explain your background.
Oh yeah, well, most of my career has been mostly youth-based and working with youth programs. So I noticed that there was a gap in, I guess, students' understanding of just different information. When I was in the school system, you always had a class that was accelerated, a class that was kind of average, and then a below functioning class. And I kind of gravitated towards that a lot. And so I saw a need for tutorial assistance. And so being a teacher, in that career for a while, kids stay after school and they get help, and then they do a little bit better than if they didn't receive tutoring. And then I work with a few nonprofits, put together some tutorial components, and you just gradually start to see where kids can write better, understand arithmetic a little bit better. But my biggest, I guess, need that I saw was when I was at juvenile court, and I had on my caseload kids who were 2-3 grades behind. And so I approached the administrator, the court administrator. He approved my proposal, and we set up the very first juvenile court tutorial program. And it worked out so good that other people in the community started to hear about it and they started bringing their kids. It was just for juveniles who were behind, but that's the beauty in tutoring. Once it starts to become effective, everybody will try to kind of get in. So why tutoring? Kids need it. It's special because all tutoring is at the end of the day is relational. And if you can just build a beautiful relationship off of that, I would say that's why tutoring.
And the other side to that, he was doing it non for profit. I was doing it for profit. So it was always something that I knew that I was supposed to do. So when the tutoring program at the court was starting to phase out, I approached him about it. I said, okay, you've done a lot of this for free. How about we join forces and, start our own company for profit? That's what he thought about that. And the name of the company actually came to me in a dream. And so he really liked it. And we did our leg work, all the things you're supposed to do, small business getting started, getting the trademark. A friend of ours did our logos for us, did all those things, and that was October 2017 is when we officially took off. I always had this nudge that it was something that I was supposed to be doing. And given Corey's background and experience with starting some successful tutorial programs with the organizations he was formerly working with, I decided, I was like, well, let me approach him about joining forces and see what he thinks about it, and gravitated towards it immediately. And ever since then, it's kind of like you just give somebody the ball and they just go. He's been running to the races ever since, and now I feel like I'm playing catch up, trying to keep up with him. We've been in operation since October 2017, and it's been great. I'm glad that we decided to do this.
And I would say my aha moment, Ron, would be two things. Number one, the testimonies from parents. When I was doing tutorial services, you can't be a parent's appreciative of your program or your services. I think that that's better than money. And so I always just like to capture as many testimonies as possible. And every testimony is different. The greatest testimony that I think that Easy as Pie has ever received from my standpoint is a mother told me that based upon our services, that her and her daughter got along better. The communication was very tense at first, but due to our services and due to the tutor that they were working with, there seems to be a sense of calm inside the house. So that was just one aha moment for us, or for me. And the other aha moment was it started off with just me and Chante doing tutoring. We used to go to the Southwest Chatham Library every Saturday from 10 to 4 p.m. And I don't know if the librarians are hearing this, but we used to kind of hustle. She would get a conference room, then I would get a conference room. And then you can sign out every hour. So we was just kind of doing what we needed to do. Rotating as much as possible. But
Good.
we figured out after the first year, hey, we need to duplicate ourselves because this is just kind of, we're getting tired. We're not doing as much productivity as we want to do. So we started to recruit, one tutor became three tutors became 6, 12, and now we're transforming to almost 35 plus tutors. So we're excited about that.
All right.
Continue to growing. But yeah, those are the aha moments that I just remember the most. The testimonies, which we still try to gather as much as possible, but also the way we duplicate ourselves. We are kind of like the X-Men. I recruit based upon skill sets, and everybody has a unique ability. And the more unique abilities we have, the greater we are able to meet every need. And so that's what we're just trying to accomplish.
So he's the business background, STEM background. So
She's the Wolverine.
All right.
She's my muscle.
It's all right.
So
It's all right. You Spider-Man or which one of you? That's good. What do you see our children falling behind at, from your guys' experience? Where's that area?
Well, I think a lot of it's due to you have parents who sometimes, unfortunately, work 2 and 3 jobs, and so there's not enough supervision. Many kids are not on grade level, unfortunately. Many kids are not reading on their grade level. Many kids are not on their math level. COVID was a big body blow to a lot of families in need. Many cannot, unfortunately, afford tutoring. And that's why we wanted to always never let price be an issue with us. So there's a lot of factors. Teachers have to play so much catch up. And because there's a lack in that, that's the reason why I think that there's a huge gap in literacy. Only way to really improve it is really communicating, having platforms such as yours, communicating with the community. And we know that, what is it? Van Johnson told me this a long time ago. He said, when you increase literacy, you decrease poverty. And so one of the things that we just know is we try to just educate as much as possible. We try to make sure that parents are aware of their resources, are aware of their rights, because many parents don't even understand their rights. For example, just because your child is diagnosed with this doesn't mean that your child needs medication. Get a second, get a third, get a fourth, get a fifth opinion before you do that, because once you put a child on medication, they become subject to it and they start to depend on it. And then that opens up the door. I'm not saying that medication is not needed, but always I try to tell parents, get a third and fourth opinion before you do that. And so the less educated, and the less resources that are out there, I think that the gap, tends to send in that direction. What do you think?
Yeah, and we also, with the tutoring, it maintains that one-on-one type of relationship that they're probably not getting in the classroom, particularly if you're in a public school setting and you're in a class of, I don't know how many other students, and if the teacher is focusing on redirects and discipline and other things of that nature, a child can easily, fall behind in a certain area just by not getting that one-on-one attention that they need. So that's something we've been able to provide, whether we are in person or virtual, because we did have to make that pivot during the COVID. As a result of COVID, we made the pivot to go virtual, and we really saw an increase of business when that happened. We were thankful, because if we did not make that pivot, we probably wouldn't be here right now.
Information. I got a question for you. So I used to be in the school system as well at one point in one of my journeys of life, right? And so I was an SL specific learning disabilities teacher, and I actually taught at the alternative school. And I noticed that from the public regular setting to the alternative schools, there was difference. And I noticed that when I work one on one and I have my assistant in the room as well, the youth actually perform better, right? My question now, with looking at the education system in its whole, is when you look at public, private, and homeschooling, which students are performing better in your opinion?
Public, private, and home. Well, not to be subjective, but I think it will vary based upon the actual student. And I'll say this, I've seen where public school, when you have a teacher and you have the support, the teacher feels supported by the administration, by the parents, that child can thrive in a public arena. The same with the private schools tend to might have a little bit more structure, maybe less discipline problems because the parents are paying for it and everything else. They typically tend to have more of the resources than all three that you named, Mr. Mark. So in that situation, the private school sector can survive as well and thrive, as well as the homeschool student. The homeschool student doesn't have a lot of distractions as long as that student is consistent and can work independently, because I think that you have children that can thrive in a group setting, but then you have children who need that time alone. So I think that, to answer your question, I think all can be effective. It's just what components are supported by that. When you don't have, if there's a 35 to 1, if there's 35 students to one teacher ratio, then a group of students are going to be singled out. If we're doing algebra and you can't even multiply, it's going to be moving. I mean, it's going to be, and then you're going to have some kids left behind. If you're in private school, and let's just say you're in private school because you wanted to get out of public school because maybe this wasn't working and you just didn't agree with the teacher, and that private school is moving kind of fast, you're going to kind of have some challenges. And even with the working from home or the homeschool student or the work-bound student, if that student isn't responsible while the parent is gone from work, they could be YouTubing, they could be you know, playing the roadblocks and everything else, and the parent wouldn't even know about it until it's time to get the grade. So I can see where it's positive, and then I can see also where it won't work and it's negative.
And it's probably see all three sides of it, right? Just looking at it just to see who's performing well and at this point in time. So thank you for just being honest about it, because I always thought it was just really about the individual as well as the individual family and what they're doing. But that could just be my little bias and my little just insight from the outside, since I'm no longer there. So thank you.
No, I think it is a great question, Mr. Marcus. And I'll just add, with the decline in teachers right now and the way the Department of Education is being attacked and might be dismantled, I think you're going to see an uptick with a lot of homeschooling. I think you're going to see a lot of charter schools. I think you're going to see a lot of maybe magnet schools. And um, you know, we might be at a time in the next 2 or 3 years where you start to see a lot of churches maybe opening their doors and starting schools and things of that nature. So I think the most important thing for parents is to be very, 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 very proactive. Take advantage of the resources, talk to the teachers, talk to your administration, talk to the guidance counselors. Many times the guidance counselors are compensated and paid for just making sure that they have relationships with community, have relationships with different businesses. And I really see an uptick with technical schools as well, jobs that have human hands, because these robots are coming, they're already here. And the more and more months that come by, the more and more you might start to see a lot of replacement with humans. So if you can have a trade where it has human hands, HVAC, roofing, what else? Plumbing, sheetrock, and all of those types of things, building a deck, you know, those things I think are going to matter more than anything.
But I think it's
No,
what you said
go ahead, Miss.
boils down to the individual students' needs. Just because they're in those certain environments, the students in each environment are not a monolith. You have to really be proactive about what your child's particular needs are. So I think it really boils down to the individual needs of the student.
Good. I know we're not gonna let AI do our hair and cut our hair, so we could cancel that one real quick, right? We're very particular about what we well, Miss Chante, I can't see you having no robot do your hair right now. That that ain't gonna happen anytime soon. My question for you, congratulations on being in existence, and doing business since 2017. So I know it's a tremendous service that you all definitely do for the community, and one that we have definitely taken advantage of in my household. So I really appreciate all that you all have done in helping my children succeed in their different programs. So I want to say thank you first and foremost. But for our audience, let them know what services that you provide for the community.
Well, we work with kids pre-K through 12th grade. We really, really actually love just the fact of building confidence, I think. That's one of the things that tutoring allows us to do, because we want to see the kids attack math. David attacked Goliath. He just didn't just strategize. You got to run. You got to attack the problem. You got to talk trash to the problem. So we just want to just build confidence. We work with a lot of different kids with different personalities. So we work with kids pre-K through 12th grade. I would say math is our number one inquiry. We can go from general math all the way up to advanced statistics. We have people in place to be able to do those things. Now, I tell parents, my highest math was geometry, and I tell them not to laugh at me, but I did a lot of playing in high school. My mind wasn't as mature as it is now, so that's as far as I got. But we got people who can do algebra 2, pre-cal, calculus, statistics, and those types of things. And we also found out that, hey, we have an option where students can also receive prep assistance for the SAT, the ACT, the ASVAB. We've helped out a number of kids trying to get into the military. I think that they need like a 40 or 50 to get a really, really good position and good job. And so we've helped kids try to amass to that point. I always tell parents all the time, tutoring is not abracadabra. You got to put the work in, just like with anything else in life. But we strive to just try to do the best that we can. We're tapping into a little bit of what else are we doing?
Actually, we also work with some non-for-profit organizations through grants and things of that nature. We're able to help a lot of people in the community who don't have the resources that are needed to help their children. So we work with a shelter, we work with a church out in Utah, doing some tutoring with them. School systems, Europe, through Chatham County Public Schools. We've done a lot.
Wow.
Number of nonprofits and things of that nature. So we're just not your average tutoring service. We like to think of ourselves as out of the box. We don't have a brick and mortar location, and so we just utilize the virtual platform, and it's been good to us. But yes, we don't know anybody out in Utah, but except John Stockton and Carl Malone. I mean, we know them; they don't know us.
Right.
I got a question for you. You guys are doing an amazing work, an amazing job, right? And so for me, let's say I'm a parent. Let's take that back. I am a parent, right? So if I was looking for tutorial services, right? And I approached you guys and said, hey, it's something I would like to look for, one of my kids or whatnot. But on a grand strand, what are some of the reservations that you guys are seeing when parents or misconceptions when they come to you guys, for tutorial services?
I think Corey mentioned it earlier. Some of them think it's abracadabra, like overnight results, and it doesn't work that way. Sometimes, like this is usually our busiest time because it's testing time. It's coming through the end of the year. Nervous about grades, so we'll get calls from parents who are a little bit panicked and I need to see a turnaround. My child but we are very transparent with anyone who calls us, and we'll let you know expectations up front. We are super transparent about that. We don't guarantee A's. We don't guarantee,
It's a
that I went into was more advanced than the one that I left, especially when it came to math. Now, I'm always been an A student and A's, few B's, but mostly A's. And math was always my favorite subject. So when I was struggling, everybody in the household knew it was a problem. Even I knew it was a problem. I recognized that, like, ooh, I don't like this. I don't like being behind. I'm used to being in the front, leading the pack, not in the back. So it was a church member who he was an engineer. He's retired now, friend of the family, and he tutored me after hours, and it did not happen overnight. It took probably a semester for me to catch up, and I'm always been independent. My parents have never had to be on me about studying or getting my homework done or anything like that. Always been independent in that aspect. So I know for certain that, the results they don't happen overnight. So that is the biggest misconception that we receive. So we are very transparent up front with the parents about that.
I think what you're telling our audience is that you failed 2 classes, miracle working and mind reading, like the rest of us failed, right? So, do you,
We were able
I
to
said, that's something.
stop the bleeding before it got to
Right,
that
right.
point. Yeah, I recognized it probably the first week. I was sitting in the algebra class, and I was like, "Uh-oh."
Right. Do you get those parents that come with those expectations like, okay, the test is Friday, it's Monday, let's get you, and you can pass this test like that, or maybe the SATs or some of these other tests?
Yeah, I think that that's a part of it as well too. And I think that parents, I think when the kids are, let's say at the mid part of the semester, they sometimes don't know how to navigate. I think if parents just would call the teacher maybe before the semester or, a couple of weeks in instead of the last few weeks, I think that it would be more gratifying to them. I've seen where if you just try to be more proactive than just reactive, it works out in your favor. I think that teachers sometimes, most of them can be more understanding at the beginning than close to the end.
Mm.
And so I think that's where you see a little bit of the dilemma. Sometimes parents are just kind of stressing. And like I said, many of them, they work in 2 and 3 jobs. You have a lot of parents who are single family oriented, which really means that they really don't have the support as a 2-parent household. We get all of that. We get all of that, even from agencies that are saying low income and all of these types of things. So we just try to do our best to work with people. We've adjusted our prices a lot and just try to meet as many needs as possible.
Makes sense. I absolutely love it. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go in a different direction for a second, right? And part of it is because I actually have a master's in education, right? And so one of the things that I did learn and was able to observe after I actually hit, real life, real world, is African American culture. We learn, through the community. We learn through the village, right? And so the American system is more from the Anglo-Saxon perspective, which teaches the concept of individuality, right? And so how has tutoring or how does tutoring help, the African American culture in a sense in regards to better performing in the educational system that's clearly not really designed for that particular sector? Could you guys just kind of expand and talk about that a little bit as far as from a tutorial standpoint?
Absolutely not. I think I'll go first and then I'll turn it over to my powerful friend here. I think that what I've seen from tutoring is so powerful because it allows one that maybe didn't have what it took at first. As the person or as the tutor begins to work with the individual, they soon begin to gravitate and get it. And not only do they get it, they are able to apply it. And that's a powerful thing. I know that in our services, we've seen kids that we've tutored become tutors themselves with our company. And that's so powerful. We've seen where tutors, high school students, some of our high school students tutor some of our college students. I think, like what you mentioned, Mr. Marcus, these days, schools in general, they teach you how to become an employee. I want to say with our services, I'm just putting it out there. I want to say with our services, we challenge you to become thinkers. And so with our services, I think that we've been able to transform so many lives. And it's amazing to me. And one of the amazing things about Easy as Pie that I've seen over the almost 8 years that we've been in operation is to see a young person that we've worked with transcend, do well, excel, be taken off tutoring only to come on board and work with us. Our youngest tutor has been 14 years old, and that's amazing. We have some 16, 17-year-old tutors, but I think that that's the amazing thing. So what we try to do with our services is say, hey, we want you to be the very best that you can be. Chante and I'll tell you, we don't want you to be on tutoring for life. It shouldn't work that way where we're just milking, 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 milking. It should come to a point where we empower you to do what you need to do, but not only to do what you need to do, but to help somebody else.
Yes, that is the goal. Not to retain, but empower them so that they can go forward and hopefully help somebody else. And we have had a couple of tutors who have worked with us and gone on to start their own businesses, their own tutoring businesses. We pride ourselves on providing a safe environment for people to learn and get that one-on-one interaction. We are very intentional about which tutor we align with the client. So we'll get all part of the process is getting information from the parents or the client when they call us. And from that information, we do our best to match them with the most suitable tutor to, fit that need. But to answer your question, Mr. Marcus, I think the important thing is providing that safe environment where they don't have to worry about getting singled out in front of the tutors who don't look like them. I'm speaking from experience about that too. As I matriculated into college, things of that nature, I would be either the only Black person in my classroom or the only Black and the only female. And I have 2 degrees in physics, undergrad, bachelor's, and master's. So as you go up, you start to see less and less people that look like you. So I can relate to that, not wanting to necessarily raise a hand in front of the class and at the fear of being made to feel like you're dumb or less than. So I was a master at bugging the professors after hours and knocking on the doors to, get what I needed. So that's one thing that I'm glad that we're able to provide for those students who may have that concern. And then they get to talking to their tutor and they get to tell them what they're experiencing day to day. Maybe they're confiding in them about things they haven't necessarily talked to their parents about yet, but that's the kind of things that we've seen, and that's the kind of safe space that we've been able to provide. So very grateful for that.
Man, I want to say I really appreciate you guys. Hey, I wish I knew about you guys when I was in school and I was going through statistics.
Me too.
Hey, and my professor said, Marcus, I'm not sure if you're ready for grad school yet. I was like, hold
Man,
up. I said, hold up. I
you
need
think
a
that's bad?
tutorial.
Yeah, you think that's bad, Marcus? I know how to do the MAF math, not the MATH. I had the country math. MAF. Yeah, I did the good stuff. I was like, Lord have mercy. Chante, I'm glad you said that. I started out engineering, and I think that second week I knew that I probably need to go to criminal justice.
Totally did.
But I was like, nah, this might not be the right career path for me. But thank y'all for sharing that. Thank you for being transparent, because I think so many of our people need to understand, especially those who are going into those STEM professions, that there may be plenty of people, we see that in the medical field as well. The higher you go up in education, there's less of us that are there. So thank you for being transparent about that. And we want to encourage all of our, young people. You're going to college, nothing wrong with going to the STEM program, and definitely nothing wrong, because if you've ever had your air broke, folks, if you in HVAC, man, boy, you gonna make some money this time of year.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in gnat control too. So rid of these mosquitoes and gnats this time of year. But yeah, so y'all walk us through the process from intake to the end, when a parent may call you and say, hey, my child will, needs tutoring in this particular field. Walk us from that beginning process to the end.
Well, I usually receive a call from a parent, teacher, social worker, whomever, saying that they have a need. I have a sixth grader needing some help with math. Well, I take in all the calls. So I provide a brief consultation. I found out the child's needs, and then I get a little bit of the parent's information. One of the great things about Easy as Pie is you don't have to do a lot of paperwork with us. All I really need is your name, your child's name, your grade, and then how many days of tutoring you think your child might need, and then the days and times that you want your child to be tutored. And I leave that up to the parent. And there's a reason why I do that. I try to tell the parents all the time, for those who tell me, well, Mr. Corey, I just want one time a week. And I get it. Maybe that's all that they can afford. But I try to be realistic with the parent. There's 168 hours in a week. And if we work with your child for 1 hour, how does that look? What are your expectations of us? How do you measure that? Now, I've seen it work both ways. And so we try to encourage at least 2 to 3 times a week or a session and things of that nature. So they call, I get the information, I get their schedule, their desired schedule, and then I'll call one of our tutors who can meet that schedule. And then once I solidify a tutor, one of the tutors on our team, then we have what's called a three-way call with myself, the child's tutor, and the parent. And we come up with a tailored plan for the child. What day we're going to start, what we're going to focus on. Here's the follow-up process. I want you to follow up with the tutor. The tutor will be sending a Zoom out, and I'm encouraging the parent to be consistent. Things lining up. So there's accountability on every side. Everybody's doing 33. 33 times 3, we know is 99. So if we're going to bring our 33, and I tell the parents that, and I want you to hold us to that and be accountable to that. And then we're asking that the parents bring their 33%. That means that you make sure that your child is in place. You make sure that your child is present. You make sure your child has the right mindset, because tutoring is attitude as well. If you don't have the right mindset, tell parents all the time, just don't waste our time. So after we do the three-way call, then we establish a initial session, the first session, and after the first session is over, I always call the parent just to see how well we did. I hold the tutors accountable as well. We have a meeting every month, and I'm not ashamed to say it, but it is mandatory. And we've had tutors that, feel that, hey, they're above the law. And so I always say that's fine, but I know how to get your attention. When something is different, when it's time for compensation, so everything's in line. So that's how it goes. That's how the process is. Parents call me. I get with the tutor after I get their desired schedule. We have a three-way call, and then we get started. Not a lot of paperwork involved at all. I tell the parents our responsibility is just to make sure that we do a great job, and all we want them to do is tell their friends and loved ones about us.
It's amazing. And again, tremendous service what you all do for the community. And you've been on several different platforms. We've seen you all on different things and marketing and everything. Your business. I've seen you at some shows and everything, Corey, and some things you've done again on other platforms. Man, what's that to know that feeling of accomplishment when a child, scores high on the exam and you get those, reports from parents that say, I really appreciate it. Walk us through that. Let us know what that's like to get those good reports. Because that's like a report card for you all, right?
Sure, for sure. Let you know, for me, it's like confirmation. You know that your labor has not been in vain. So one thing that we do is we highlight those testimonies on our website. If you go to our webpage, there's a section for testimonials, and it's always cool to go back and read those. Or I'll be at work and Corey will send me a text message in the middle of the day that he received from the parent. So it's always confirmation that, okay, we're doing the right thing. We did the right thing by starting the business. We're going in the right direction. So it makes us feel great to know that we are helping our community in that way.
Absolutely. It's like my vitamins. It's like my supplements. I need it. That's unfortunately for us, that's the only indicator we have to track how we're doing. And what greater way to record that than an actual testimony. And if you just go onto our website or web page, you'll see us just capturing a lot. And each testimony is different. And I too much don't pay attention to going from like a C to a B. I look for those other things like attitude changing, more responsibility, leadership, taking initiative, being more proactive, turning in homework when homework was more of a procrastination at first, attitude. And so these are the things that we just kind of look for. But I'm always, because as much as I, hear it and, get it, it pushes me more and it motivates me more. And what the sweetest joy of all, I think, is just to help someone else. And then them just coming back and just saying thank you. The thank yous is what really, really blesses us.
So the one fun thing I don't know when we started this, but in December, we like to do an end of year celebration around the holidays, and we must have started this during COVID around that time. So we do a big Zoom, and it has actually grown. Our celebration, end of year celebration, has actually grown from the inception. Ron knows because him and his wife have always been a part to help us out, and thank you so much. We really everybody gets to see the fun side of us, and it's really a time for us to bring everybody together because there's really no other time for us to do that because we're spread about, around the country, given that our, services are virtual. So that's the one time we get together, we play some games.
Give out money.
We give out prizes, we give out money, we've given out laptops, we've given out some big prizes. So it's really a time for us to show our appreciation to the parents, the students, our tutors, everybody who's involved. It's really a time where we get to give back to those who've sown into us. So that's one of the things that I've come to enjoy the most.
Good. And the age ranges again, you said, was it 5 to 17, 18?
Pre-K to 12th grade, and we also
Pre-K,
college and adult as well.
Works with college students and adults.
Gotcha.
Got it.
So how can the people reach you all?
Well, the best way, you can call us 912-3 page. You can reach all our social media is Linktree. They can reach our website. You can reach all our social media from that Linktree website.
And I'll just give you our website. Our website is www dot the letters EZPI tutoring.com. So that's EZPI tutoring.com. And also our email address is the letters, go ahead.
Hold on. How we get our email?
The letters EZ dot pi dot tutoring at gmail.com. So that's EZ dot pi dot tutoring at gmail.com. You have to excuse my wife. I was just
Well, it's
And that's no worries.
initially set them up. You know, some of the names weren't available. You had the name. So I always get the email and the website confused. So that's why I just put the link tree out there so they can reach the website and all our social media from there.
But the best way to do is I'm gonna reach out and touch person.
Yeah, he
Just
loves
call
the
me.
phone call.
Please
so that's
call
why I
me.
put the phone number first.
I love the call.
You guys, I just want to say something right quick. I
No, you
love
good.
y'all name. I'm gonna be honest with you. The name is so catchy to me, and that was one of the things that I was like, "Oh my goodness, I wouldn't even thought of that." And so I'm glad it came to you in a dream, because I'm being, really serious about it. When I heard it, I was like, "This is such a great name, and it's so easy to, easy to remember and to read and whatnot." That like I said, Ron brought it to me, and I was like, I started laughing initially when he told me about it, right? But then, I did some research with you guys, and I saw the amazing work you guys were doing, and it just made it easy. And I'll be honest with you, and when people ask me questions, do you know any tutorial services and different things of that nature? Your name come up so quick to me, come up so quick, and I just referred people to you guys, all the time, just because it's like boom, it's just so easy to remember. So hopefully, everybody who's been listening have the opportunity, to hear what you guys are saying, and to, I hope it sticks to their brain like it sticks to mine, because you guys are doing a phenomenal job. And if you guys do go to their website, you'll see the testimonies and all of the good reports. And for me, the biggest thing is not just the fact that you guys are doing tutorial services, but you guys are making an impact, right? And my thing is that you guys are looking at the whole person, because rapport is everything, right? If you don't have a good customer service experience or a good rapport, you don't return. And so that means you guys are doing something right, that one, that people return, two, they refer, three, the other part about it is that you guys build them up, right? And so now you have a reoccurrence, because I love the fact that you said, hey, some of our people who were being tutored are now tutors, right? And so now you put in a different mindset. I absolutely love it. You guys are so amazing. And the other part of, I can talk forever about education. That is one of the things that really get me. But I love to see people operate in three areas: encourage, enrich, and empower. And you guys are actually in that area, right? And so this right here excites me. So I just want to say thank you guys for being a part of it. And I'm gonna turn it over to Ron, because like I said, I get excited and I keep talking.
Thank you, Mr.
No, y'all keep being a blessing. Yeah, y'all keep being a blessing to the community. Much needed, and the thing about it, yeah, our young people go on to be adults, but now you're starting to see younger children come up, and a lot of the parents don't know how to do this new math. I remember when Eureka math and all this stuff came out. I called the wife. I like, here, I'll wash the clothes. You like, I don't know what they're talking about. But I think, and I think you may allude to, I think it's so important for the teachers and the parents to be on one accord when they're doing this, and then also with you all building that relationship. And for our audience out there, don't look at it as a transaction. Look at it as a relationship and an investment. Because that's really, you're investing in your children, you're investing in their future, and you're investing because there may be some things that you all may not be able to handle that somebody else can. And it takes that away, it takes that off your plate, but you can say, hey, we're doing this when you're talking with the teachers. Corey, Chante, I want to give y'all the last word. Give us some words of wisdom. And then we're gonna ask one more important question. Marcus and I have had this debate since about a year now. But I'm gonna give you all the last word before we ask our last question here.
My wife is asking. Well, we just thank you so much, Brother Ron. Thank you so much. And Mr. Marcus, you all have really, really just shown us love. And I know me and you, Ron, and we've been friends since I can't remember how many years, but thank you so much for what you do on your platform and how you just help people and getting the word out. And we just pray that blessings just come upon your program and you all have all the funding and everything else that you need to kind of take this to beyond measures that you probably not even thought of. But thank you again. But I would just say this, parents, we appreciate you. We love you. We want the best for you. And I would just say, as we close, just to try to be as more proactive than ever going into these next several months. We don't know what it's going to be looking like. So far as education, I would say once the summertime comes, please have your children to engage in some type of literacy, some type of practice. If they're doing summer camps, try to make sure that the summer camp does have a literacy component where it's just not eating candy and watching movies all day and playing the games all day, but trying to get into some recreation and also some literacy. With that said, I just want to just also just encourage all of our teachers to just continue to just strive and just be the best that you can be. We support you. We want to support you the best as possible. We know that it's hard to teach all day and then they give you a stipend just to stay after school. What we've been trying to say is let us help the teachers and so that they can go home, refresh, reset so that they can be fresh the next day. And so I'm just so excited about what we're doing. We're getting ready to celebrate 8 years in October and we're super, super, super excited about that. And we just believe that the best is still yet to come. We believe that there's a place for us in literacy. I want there to be a contagious mindset around the whole world. When there's a tutoring need, I want people to think of As Pie Tutoring Service. And so we're just not thinking about North America, we're thinking about some other continents as well, Africa, Asia. And so we're just looking at just doing the supernatural. We believe in God and we just know that he can do great things. And with that, I'll turn it over to my beautiful wife.
Thank you all for having us on your platform. We so appreciate it. Corey always sums it up the best way. Anybody who's listening, if you think you could benefit from our services, please check us out on our platforms, on our website. And I will just leave with our slogan that you can find on our website. If one can do it, two can do it. And if two can do it, you can do it.
It's all right. I'm glad both of y'all know it because I'm used to you hear Corey say it, right? So I'm glad you knew it, Chante. That was good. So my last question is kind of out of the way. If you're at the fish fry, right, and you go get your plate of fish, and you had your options: mustard, tartar sauce, hot sauce. Give it to me.
Tartar sauce, hot sauce.
Lord.
Yes.
Go ahead, Corey. Are you too, Corey?
Yes. Yes.
You ain't.
Yes.
Man, y'all from New York City. Y'all from Buffalo somewhere. You gotta put some mustard on there. Gotta have some mustard and white bread.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We've been having this for the longest. I go with tartar sauce.
I got to go with tartar sauce. I can
I
tell.
go with tartar
Sauce.
sauce.
I'm putting the hot sauce in the tartar sauce.
Yeah.
Oh, you like my wife. Okay, you do that.
Yeah.
No, man, it's too hot to be out here with tartar sauce.
I thank you guys for helping me out because Ron and his crew been beating me up, you guys. They've been beating me up. They was like mustard and white bread. And I was like, what is tartar sauce? They was like, you not from the South.
Hey, y'all remember back in the day, them bones get stuck in your throat. You better have that white bread. Yeah. Now you don't need the bread now because everything don't have a bone in it all the time, so you're good. To our audience, thank you all for participating and being here with us. If you like this and you got inspiration, everything from Chante and Corey today, we want you all to follow, share, like, and subscribe to our podcast. And as always, you can always go to Chante and Corey's website, Easy as Pie, and we will have that in our description. We'll have everything there for you. And you all, thank you very much for being here with us. That's our time for today. Y'all take care. Have a great day.